Yo, Sari, did you catch the Knicks game last night? Did you at least catch the highlights?
Yo, come on, bro.
Don't start. Don't
Come
come on, man.
Let's be serious, man. Play that right quick for me. Come on, man. That's my response.
Come on, man.
Come on,
You
man.
better stop disrespecting my Knicks, man. Listen, it was a thrilling overtime victory, by the way. Just so you know, I hate to spoil it for you, which I know you don't care, you Nick hater. It was a double overtime win, by the way. And Evan Fournier, he scored like 30-something points, which I was like, yeah, we got a chance to beat the Boston Celtics, bro. Okay?
Okay.
Just think about that for a second. Let's see if we can string a few of them together and go from there.
Knicks have no future.
you got some nerve, you know that? Don't talk about my Knicks like that, bro. Don't you dare talk about my Knicks like that.
Yo,
I got my cafecito ready. It's hot. It's ready to go. What you got today? What you drinking today?
Yo, I poured a little bit of red wine. I did it.
You got red wine. First of all, you're drinking red wine in a mason jar. There's etiquette to this, bro. What's wrong with you?
There's levels to this. You got it. That's why I did it, because there's levels to the decisions you make when you're free, bro.
Yeah, brother. You're drinking wine out of a mason jar. Bro.
You know, I do things like this to show people that there's levels to freedom. I love doing stuff like this. Like
Listen, it's understandable if you're drinking wine like sangria out of a mason jar, but not regular wine out of a mason jar.
Whose rules are those?
It's just etiquette. It's just wine etiquette. Come on now.
Oh.
What's I just don't understand what you're doing here. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's get going. Hello and welcome to another live show. I'm Macho, that's Savory, and together we are Drinks with a Nobody. Be sure to follow us.
That name is sticking, though. That name is sticking, low key.
Drinks
with a Nobody. Like
Drinks
the ring
with
of
a
it.
Nobody. Be sure to follow us on Twitch at MachoFix88 and at Savory_Edition. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter. Same name, same handles there. And in case you miss any of our content, go on to YouTube, type in Drinks with a Nobody. hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you never miss a thing. And also, as a side note here, Savory here has his TikTok booming. It's
Ooh,
booming right now.
holla at me. Same username.
There you
Right here,
go.
right here, right here.
Username is an old reference. That's AOL days. Username that doesn't
Oh,
exist anymore.
no, that's what they ask you still, bro. What
It's
you talking
called
about?
handle. It's called handle. It's your
Oh,
handle at savory underscore edition. Yo, get your game up, all right?
go handle that. All right.
So I got a question for you, Savory. Why do we want people to view our show?
Yo, I don't really care who views our show. No, no, I'm kidding. I know, on a serious note, man, we are having fun with this. We
Yes, we
definitely
are.
love everybody who tunes in every day when we do this because at the end of the day, we really doing this because we love doing it, but we also want to create that space that we
Yeah,
don't really feel exists. And it could exist in different ways, but I think we bring a unique perspective that's not an expert opinion or something like that, but we're going into these topics as two nobodies just trying to grow with everyone else who joins in with us. So
absolutely.
if you find yourself going to these channels, they're trying to give you all the answers, a little too biased for you. This channel, what we can guarantee you'll get, man, is that different perspective or a new angle for you to at least explore, right? So if you ever felt like you can't speak about something, you ever felt like you need to censor yourself or be quiet, we want to kind of do away with that, man. So hopefully we continue to grow in our channels. We don't get banned, and we just welcome a lot of people who have different ideas, man. That's the goal.
Hey, and if I could add to this, look,
Yeah, of
this
course.
is not a cult. Drinks with a Nobody is not a cult, right? We're not trying to start an army. We're not. What we're trying to do is to create a realm where people can talk and have civil discussions, folks. And not we could agree to disagree. That's fine. I don't agree with Savory on many issues. On some issues, I wouldn't say many. There's a lot of things we see eye to eye on. Of course, you'll see that, but we need a forum where people can disagree. If you are
Facts.
breaking away from friends and you are breaking away from families because of their political ideology, that is not politics, that is a cult. Leave the cult and join
Mm,
Drinks with a Nobody. So don't do this without a drink. Obviously, it's just Drinks with a Nobody. Go to your fridge, grab a drink of choice, pop that open, sit back, relax, and be prepared to engage. You said you got your wine in a mason jar. I got my black coffee and my Tom Soul,
so conventional.
my man baritone voice over here, Mr. Baritone. So today we're gonna do a similar rendition of yesterday. Yesterday, the only difference today is we're adding some form of a cultural aspect. Is that fair to say, Savory? A little
Yeah, yeah,
more,
yeah. Yeah, for
some
sure.
form of a, not just politic debating ideas, but also cultural expectations. So we got a little interesting stuff, and you'll probably get to know us a bit more today.
Yeah.
The
Warning,
first topic,
warning. Macho's coming in hot.
warning,
Oh,
warning,
oh, yeah, yeah.
warning.
He's coming in hot. I'm trying to, but go ahead, man. You open us up, man. What we got?
So what we did yesterday is we played a couple of clips, short clips, and we commentated on those clips, but we did it in a way where we're talking about specific political ideas. Simple things that are like not so simple, but very like the cultural or political expectations. And then we also commentated on it. Everyone has a side to the coin. The first one I want to go with today is Jason Whitlock. He is a former sports commentator for ESPN and other areas. Now he's working for Blaze TV. He's got his own joint. He's able to speak freely and candidly, and he wants to have certain kind of conversations. He's obviously a black male, and he has been critical of certain ideologies that have been going on now. So I'm going to play a clip here where he talks about his criticism towards ESPN. And this was his criticism towards black athletes in their perception on the John Gruden incident of the emails. And
Mm.
he talks about what he thinks. He gives his peace of mind on what he thinks ESPN really is and what it needs to not be. Here's what he has to say.
For the ladies watching, I need you to be woman enough to say you're going to support these fearless men as we attempt to take this country back from the people that are emasculating and castrating traditional men.
Uh oh.
Oof.
We got to put the Emasculated Sports Personalities Network on notice that we're
Yo, that's
Did you
an
did you see what
ESPN
he
act.
did there? Did you see what he did there?
That's exactly it for ESPN. He's out of control.
He
Yo,
said
he's out of
emasculated sports
control.
personality network, bro.
Yeah, he's
So he's
really
giving his peace of mind here, what he thinks of what ESPN is.
not taking this anymore. That black men just don't get to go run on TV and have a white woman say dance or cry, and then they fall apart because John Gruden sent an email. Man up. We're living in that time for people to man up. If you're not willing to man up, go sit in the corner somewhere, get off TV, go play house somewhere, go pretend like you're down for, oh my God, if someone
So
says,
let's pause that right quick.
Yeah,
Right.
go for it.
So for context, you said he's responding to the reaction of ESPN on the John Gruden emails, the racism, and all that, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Just to give people that view and also give an opportunity to pause it because
And
I've
he's
learned.
giving he's in a sense calling men out.
Yeah.
He's saying we need masculine men
He used to
to
work for
step up
ESPN, by
and
the
be
way.
fearless. Yeah, he used to.
Yeah. So he's calling the network he used to work for before. All right, cool.
Network and the guys that are working there. He also, in the earlier part of this this episode, which he also interviews Kwame Brown in this. So go ahead, watch Jason Whitlock Fearless. Check this interview out because it's great. But he pointed out how he has beef with some of the people on that network, and
Mhm.
how he may have had a good relationship with them, but now he's given a piece of his mind. They may be now ruffling some feathers.
Gotcha. All right.
they're transphobic or they're trans or whatever, I'm down with that. And we must support the trans community. And again, I'm not anti-trans, but the little, well, hell, maybe I am, because this whole little thing of however I feel, that's who I am. I'm calling bullshit on that.
Ooh.
I'm not remaking the world because someone feels like a woman,
Did he go too far there?
because some bio.
Wow.
Do you think he went too
He
far
said,
there
"I'm not." Did he go too far?
when it comes to the trans or like calling BS on or
I think to some extent. Actually, no. I'm gonna answer quickly. No, I don't think he went too far because you have a small percentage of people who are now. He's right. They're changing the way we view this world.
yeah.
A small minority is changing the way we view this world. For example, that we looked up some stats on transphobic people being killed for being transphobic. Not transphobic people, trans people being killed for being trans, right?
Mm-hmm.
44 people were killed last year, allegedly. Now, when you read the 44 people that were killed for being trans, they'll give a description and say, okay, they were in this incident and they got into this altercation and it ended up them getting killed. How's that transphobia? Could it
Yeah.
have not been an incident that arose or something was stimulated and then that's just murder to me?
Yeah. And I think the point he's making, which is why I asked you
Yeah.
this, is I believe they deserve the same rights, but no particular group deserves or not deserves has the right to make demands to change how everybody else lives. You see what's happening there? So a lot of these movements have crossed the line where you hand them the equal rights card and they say, but we demand you to see us, think like this, and be like this. You see what happens there? So this is why I asked
Yeah.
you that question, because there's a difference between um, getting equal rights, and then
Yeah.
what you do with those rights could be manipulated. Like, oh yeah, why? Because when is it enough, right? It's usually it's an internal problem where it's like we give you the same rights, but then, quite frankly, to be honest, they want more, and those demands infer with everybody's freedom.
Yeah. And again, the call for masculinity. I know over the years there's been like, oh, well, we want masculine men, but we don't want toxic masculinity. And it's
Mhm.
like that's kind of gotten muddied so much over the years because it's like toxic masculinity. What's toxic masculinity?
Yeah.
It's just a man doing bad things or possibly doing bad things to people or to women. But
Hmm.
it's not a thing. It's not something where like there's this movement of men wanting to be toxic. It's cultural where you look at like the hip hop culture, right? Just to kind of deviate a bit here. Hip hop culture has this subtle demand on men to be a certain way because of the lyrics. It's like, oh, I banged this shorty, I did this, I did
Hmm.
that to that. Oh, I banged your bitch or whatever, whatever, whatever. You know, we hear it all throughout the lyrics, and it subtly starts to indoctrinate us to perceive how the world is. We interact that because
Yeah,
again, we
for
don't
sure.
have maybe we don't have father figures, maybe we don't have a mentor in our life to say, hey, that's not how you treat women, right?
Yeah.
But then you have strong women now coming in and saying, that's not how a man's supposed to be. Well, how are you going to tell me what a man's supposed to be? You're a
Yeah.
woman. I don't tell you what a woman's supposed to be.
Gender confusion is what I call what's happening in our society.
Gender confusion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
so I wanted to kind of like throw this in real quick, if I could,
Yeah, go
of
ahead.
a
Do you think
woman. Not this is not just a guy
this is
like Jason
connected?
Whitlock.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is not a
masculine.
guy like Jason Whitlock calling men to be masculine and then telling women to deal with it. There are actually women calling women
Ooh, that's interesting. Let me see this. All right.
to let men be masculine and stop suppressing that. And here's what she has to say.
Some more, and since then I have been attracting a lot of masculine energy in my life, so I use my YouTube channel to help you guys do the same. That's if you want to attract a very masculine man in your life. Now you're gonna have to peel back your layers. You're gonna have to reprogram your mind and think outside of the box. A lot of black women are just so caught up on the fact that I have to be independent, I have to be this, and they're bringing that to the table, and that's why you're repelling the masculine energy from you. And I know a lot of black women are going to come and talking about, okay, but let's focus on these black men, let's focus on what they're doing wrong, why are they intimidated by us? Listen, there's nowhere in this video I'm telling you
Yo,
to shrink
by the way,
yourself.
that's always the biggest red flag to me, right? I'm a married man now, but when I
Mhm.
was single, the biggest red flag. Um, Men got to stop being intimidated by me. Like I don't even entertain that. I just smile and say, "All right, best of luck to you in your future endeavors." Because that attitude, like, do you men? It's not about intimidation. You already starting the conversation or framing it through a conflict. Like intimidation. No, we just don't want that. We're not scared of that, but we just don't want that kind of attitude, mindset, and idea. When you're a masculine man, you ready for this? You want to be masculine in front of your woman. So if you don't have the opportunity to be who you are, which is masculine, it's not about you being scared of that woman. You just not as attracted to that woman, so you stay away. Cause why? This is why. Now
You're
this,
not yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
this is the last thing I say. You'll stay away. Why? Because men to men, how do we handle conflict? We get straight to it. We handle it. You don't handle conflict like that as a man. You don't handle it like that with a woman. So what do most masculine men do? They stay away from those women. Easy, right? Masculine energy is not accepted there. This is who I am. We just stay away. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what concerns me with being around another man is the possibility of us engaging in some form of combat. You get what I'm saying? When I'm approaching a woman, why do I have to think I'm engaging some type of combat or some kind of resistance or tension? Look, it's one thing to say I'm not attracted to you, like keep it moving. It's another thing that if she is expressing attraction, and then she goes, "Well, I'm independent. I ain't this. I ain't." That. I'm like, yo, I don't
Yeah.
need this
You're flaunting
hostility.
it.
I don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
any
You're,
of that
you're
because
flaunting that independence. That's a good point you make there. It's not that you're independent. There's nothing wrong with a woman being independent. But when you're flaunting that and your identity is really on that, that's a more masculine trait overall. Not that a woman can
yeah,
be independent. It's something admirable about that too. You want your woman to be independent, but to a
check out
certain extent.
check this out. What her rationality of
Yeah,
when
yeah.
a
Go ahead. Let's
woman
see what's
does
that.
this and how it hurts her, how it hurts the woman. And she says the black woman, I would say for all women,
Yeah,
she's just her niche is to speak to the black woman.
yeah.
It's all about attracting a man. If you want to attract a man, you gotta know what a man wants in order to attract him, right? And a lot of y'all females are gonna be in the comments talking about why are these men intimidated by us. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are the feminine men that talk about, oh, I'm intimidated by you. No masculine energy is going to be intimidated by a feminine energy. We both play our parts, and we can't play our parts without each other.
Exactly.
So when you're walking around talking about you don't need a man for nothing, you're lying. You are lying. We're all creatures. We do need a man. We all desire.
So she's saying when you yeah.
You're lying when you say that. Why? And what does the man do? They stay away from that. They're not going to compete with that and prove to you that I'm like, yo, you want to be that kind of woman? A masculine man doesn't want that kind of woman. Instead of me explaining away, I'll do that with my boys. I'm not explaining away with you. I'm gonna just stay away. You do you.
Exactly. And women and men are not necessarily intimidated by a strong woman. They're not intimidated by anything. They see, oh, you're a man too? You're a man too? Okay. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
how
I'm
you
saying?
look at it. It's black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to have that masculine? Cool. I don't think we should stop you. You do what you got to do. As for me, that ain't for me.
Yeah. I don't want to hang. I don't want to go home to my boys. I don't want to go home to my boys. You know what I'm saying? I want to go home to my lady.
Exactly.
That's it. We have to understand the stark differences here. And it's not about this whole macho or no pun intended, macho here. But it's not about this macho masculinity. It's natural. She just said it. We play our parts and we play it with each other. You get what I'm saying? So we need each other in a sense. That's not that doesn't need to be said from us. We as men don't need to say that. But we look at a woman and we look at her willingness to play the part of the team. Are you going to be a part of the team? Or are you going to want to do this? You want to run this? You want to be the head? Because I tell like I say, you want to be the head of the household, so you answer the door when someone's trying to break in.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm the head of the household. I'll take that.
Yeah. That's good because you showed the perspective that most people hear through a masculine man who Whitlock is explaining to you. But now you put in, she's speaking, I won't say for all women, but for a lot of women, she's expressing the reality of a lot of women wanting a masculine man, but covering it up with the facade of like
or repelling them.
I'm independent, not knowing that yes, you're competing with other women when you do that, not with another man. Men are not competing for that. So you're just flaunting it between your girlfriends. Like now,
men compete with other men for the girl, not compete with the girl to get her.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Facts.
So it's like they kind of repel us in a way. They repel men, not knowing that that's not the way to get them. So, yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna take a shift right here, a quick turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna bring in
what other idea you have?
I don't know if people have seen this, but some controversy on the artwork that Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, the sitting president's son, is selling. Right, so I thought this would be interesting to put in here.
Wait, Hunter's another crackhead, right? I'm dead serious. He's a crackhead. He's a crackhead.
With Jordan, he in recovery, my brother. So hopefully he's recovering. If not, man, pray for that man. But he's all of a sudden an artist. He was having trouble selling his artwork. Now that his dad is the president, he's selling his artwork, and I'll let the video speak for itself right now.
Yeah, let's see that.
The first painting is a Claude Monet.
I'm sorry, I can't read any of the words.
You don't need to. Okay. You just need to look at this great painting right here.
It's a very beautiful painting.
It is beautiful, and it is listed at Christie's for $700,000. Now, Claude Monet was the founder.
This is the Attorney General
movement.
Garland,
Attorney General Garland,
yeah, he's being questioned. Yeah,
I didn't know until I researched it. The second painting is a Degas. Another world-renowned artist, and this painting sold for $500,000. The third painting, you may recognize this name, is a Hunter Biden.
I don't recognize the painting.
That's my man Biden. All right.
Why are they asking him questions at a judiciary committee about Hunter Biden's paintings?
Because there's a lot of talk about why his painting is selling at a certain price and where that money is going, because it was used. He's under investigation right now for some of the things. You know, so
Big time.
with that investigation, they think that part of this, what some people think, laundering money through his artwork, where he doesn't have to claim who bought it, stuff like that, and using the power of his dad and presidency to kind of like do things like this. But most importantly is what he's doing with that and under the investigation he's in. So you'll hear him say this right here. Hold up.
Biden painting sold for $500,000 also. Now, you may think that such an exclusive, that when Hunter Biden is in such exclusive.
So another thing, Hunter Biden, remember, he was in the board of directors in Ukraine. You remember the controversy? Or he was one of the board members with no experience. So
I would barely remember if they didn't cancel the post
yeah, they
covering
censored
of
the
it.
New York Post on Twitter. So right
Yeah.
now, what they're saying is it seems like a similar story. Has no credentials, no connection. He's an artist. Yeah, you have the right to sell it, but this is just familiar, eerie and
You
familiar
have
with what he does.
basically he's an artist that has no history of doing this and
Exactly.
is now selling art for $700,000.
Exactly.
And the Hunter Biden story, in case people haven't heard because they suppressed the story, is he was working for Ukraine under the energy company in Ukraine, right? And he was under investigation by the attorney general in Ukraine for something that he was doing. Maybe he was embezzling money, funneling money, or something like that. Joe Biden was the vice president at the time under President Obama.
Yep.
He told the president of Ukraine to fire the district attorney that was investigating his son.
Yep.
He said, if you don't do that, I won't send you the $1 billion to fund your country.
And then what happened next day? Bada bing, he got fired.
But you want to get Trump on Russian collusion?
Yeah, this is
Or what was it that they said? They impeached him for using his power or withholding money. A quid pro quo. It was a quid pro quo.
Yeah. These things move. But let's end with this right here so we can keep moving. But you explained it perfectly, right? You see how they're connecting that history. Now there's like, why is this guy selling art now? His dad, like, it's not the selling of the art. You could do that in America. It's just the ties to all of this, right? So right here.
Have a background, artistic training, for example. But you would be wrong if you thought that. And you might think that he had some sort of apprenticeship with a world-renowned artist, but you would be wrong again if you thought that. Or perhaps that he has been selling his works for years. And again, unfortunately, you would be wrong. It turns out that in 2019, Hunter Biden couldn't find a gallery to list his art. And what happened in 2020 that changed all that? His dad became president of the United States.
So you see where the conflict is there. So this is my thought around this, right? It's like, wow, this is a political manipulation, a maneuver where you're just moving pieces around, just the way they did, right? When he was sitting on the board of that company where someone got fired, right? Because they were investigating him. What's happening now? The webs are connecting again, where he's using the power. And you know why I like to use this example here? Because it's not only about Biden, but this is what politics is filled with. People use their influence, right, in order to get, let's say, Nancy Pelosi on an inside trade, in order to get the right connection here. Politics is power, not money. Although he's selling that artwork for $500K, the biggest question is, wow, you got somebody to list your artwork with no experience. That's called connection. So politics is always after power. So I found that really interesting. I was like, wow. And this will be swept under the rug, and we'll move on to the next issue, because this is what politics does.
Absolutely. Or they don't even want to talk about what Joe Biden's brother has been involved in.
Exactly.
Joe Biden's brother was involved in a hit and run accident a few years ago while he was a vice president. And you know what? The person who he hit died. You wouldn't even know that, right? Exactly. Joe Biden's brother was driving, or he rented a vehicle and someone else was driving the car. Joe Biden's brother was in the passenger seat. And the person was going about 80 miles an hour, hit somebody in a crosswalk, killed them on impact. And Joe Biden's brother continued and told the person, keep driving. And that family has never had they've tried suing him. They can't find the man. man's not working. It's that they just totally hid him from the public. He's not even seen, but you can see him at the White House every now and then with pictures and stuff like that. They can't still get the lawyers can't still touch him. Can you believe that?
Wow. That's good. You
So
dropped. That's
it's
all
not
connected
just
to where I'm going. Good point.
it's not just Hunter Biden that's dirty. It's not just Joe. It's his brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you elected, folks.
And
You
how much
elected
you don't know.
a dirty person to run our country. You want to call Trump dirty? Listen, we know what Trump was all about. We knew it. His track record speak for himself. The guy was willing. He was like a wolf. He said, "Oh, okay, New York City's tanking. I'll buy that hotel building, but I don't want to be taxed for like 40 years." We knew his track record. But at the end of the day, you can never call him out on some of the things that Joe Biden and his family has been guilty of. So I'm just saying.
Let's see what you got, Macho. That's a good point, by the way. You connected it all.
Yeah. So basically, now the next political or cultural discussion that has been taking the country by storm for the past, I want to say maybe 15 years, and it's taken a major push in the last about 5, and that is minimum wage laws. Minimum wage laws has been huge, and the biggest advocate, he worked for the Clinton administration, was Robert Rice. Just to give you guys a bit of context on Robert Rice, this guy is scum as scum can be. Okay, this may be my personal take. Look him up. Look up his accolades. But this dude is a multimillionaire, like 4 times over. He's the guy that talks about climate change and how this and that, and he'll write another book, make millions. That's just how this guy is. But he talks about how minimum wage needs to go up, and when it goes up, it's better for everyone. So here's his argument. Check this out.
Winnable fix for the economy? Raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Anytime I hear someone say that, a winnable fix, as if there's anything in government you can fix, as if there's anything in American society. Yeah, what are you talking about?
All right, let's see.
Everything has a trade-off, and apparently Mr. Robert Rice doesn't think that way.
Oh, I think that's good for you.
A basic moral principle that the majority of Americans, whether Democrats, Republicans, or independents, agree on is that no one who works full-time should be in poverty, nor should their family. Yet
See, this is why a guy like this will be believable, because he brings both party lines together over an obvious agreement. If you're working a full-time job, you shouldn't be in poverty. Duh.
But nobody's arguing that. We're just trying. The problem is, how are you going to solve that? Which, all right, yeah, let's see where he goes. That's a good point. That's manipulative.
For time, we've seen significant growth in the working poor. These are people working full-time, sometimes even 60 or more hours each week, but at such low wages that they remain impoverished.
There's a couple of points that he's missing here.
Yeah.
Is he right? Absolutely. What is he missing, Savory? What do you think?
So
about the working poor.
Well,
just out of curiosity.
Yeah, where I was gonna go was my mind was in low wages, right? Like, how do you define that, right? And when you have low wages, you raise the wages, and are you not thinking about what you're going to impact? Right? You have businesses, you force them to raise their wages, and then you have them hiring less. Then you have them automate more things. So my first mind when he said low wages, I'm like, you can't dictate what a business pays. The market does.
What he drew is not what he said. He said the working poor are mostly making low wages and whatnot. What did he draw here? He drew kids here. Did he mention anything about people who are working with children with low wages? Because that makes a world of a difference. He did not mention that. And that's what he's not going to mention that. What he failed to mention is the reason why they're working poor is because you may have people who have children at a particular age, which is what? A higher cost of demand. So you're expecting already from the working market a higher wage because of your demand. You have children, you need an apartment, you need your own house, maybe need to
Yeah,
take
that's a
care,
whole different layer. But I see where yeah,
so
yeah.
a huge
But
layer.
politics don't consider that layer, which is why I was
No, they
yeah.
don't.
They will
They
never
make it
consider family
blanketed.
layer. Yeah, yeah.
They make it blanketed. So here it is.
In the big picture, if the minimum wage in 1968 had simply kept up with inflation, it would be more than $10 today. If it also kept up with the added productivity of American workers since then, it would be more than $21 an hour today. And when we put money in the pockets of the adult breadwinners who make up the majority of minimum wage workers, they turn around and spend it, which creates demand and jobs for all of us. It's a virtuous cycle.
Not true. Hold on. Pause.
All
Hold
right,
on.
go ahead.
All right. You see, you're just painting a rosy picture now, but that's not how it works. Go back to that graph. Pause it in that graph for me for a second.
Okay, got you.
Right? Because
What to do for all of
there's
us.
a lot to this right here, right? So he's
money
explaining
in,
the cycle. More money, they spend
right?
more,
More money. Yep, they spend,
they
which
spend.
helps the corporations, which creates more jobs.
Not true. Not
That's
true.
his theory.
Yeah, let me tell you why.
Why
that's
is it not true?
All right. More money in Americans' hands, yes, they spend more. That's true, right? But now when you're going into the businesses and jobs, you don't know what you're short circuiting the argument now, because when you're raising the wages, you act like every single company and employer is just gonna pay that. That's not how it works. These companies care about bottom line. So as you raise the minimum wage, you have a lot of companies like restaurants and other minimum wage jobs that are operating at a minimal margin. So their 10 full-time employees, right, will now turn to 4 with 4 machine in McDonald's, for example, right? So you have actually less jobs. You're not creating jobs. You see, you went to jobs, but how are you creating jobs? You don't create jobs when people spend money. That's not the way it works. What you do circulate the economy. It's good when people spend money. But when people spend money, corporations and people, it's not like I spend money and because of that, I own a company. I'm like, oh yeah, people are spending money. Let me create more jobs. No, jobs are determined through what? Capitalist system, which is bottom line, right? So if the market's saying, hey, I'm paying $10 an hour, most jobs, now you're forcing a company to pay 15, multiply that times 10, that's $50 hourly, right?
Mhm.
On your bottom line. It's now 50 times 40, for example, So now your bottom line is slim. You're either going to go out of business, you're either going to raise the minimum wage and be in the red, or you're going to be discouraged to open a lot of mom and pop businesses when you have minimum wage. Minimum wage doesn't help small businesses, is my point. In this cycle, he missed so much there. Like big
If
picture.
you raise minimum wage, which he failed to express here, when you raise minimum wage, the inflation continues to go up. Because now that everyone has money to buy goods and services, there's higher demand for goods and services, which
Good
means
point too, yeah.
you may have less of the product. It's not so rosy and quick like that. You have to now, if the demand becomes more open and people are now opening up more businesses to provide those goods and services, then so be it. The missing ingredient here at the bottom line that you're talking about is the skill set. If you're just doing a service, a minimum level service where you go to a table, says, okay, let me get your order, go back, place that order to a kitchen, and that's all you're really getting paid for, then my whole thing is what skill are you providing to the restaurant that they really need? That's why back of house gets paid more than waiters. They have more of a set salary than the waiters, but the waiters make money off tips. So they serve the customer as much as they want so that they can generate those tips. But this is not just for them. We're talking about other like industries like factories or stuff like that. If you're just doing a monotonous kind of job, what kind of skill are you offering this corporation, this enterprise that they're taking from that they need to pay you based off a commission?
Yeah, most
You're
of these
not.
minimum wage jobs, you're replaceable in a second. You know what I'm
Of
saying? That's
course,
just the reality.
because you're just doing a specific task. You're
Yeah.
not requiring any form of skill. So when you also raise the minimum wage, you price people out of a job because you don't have the skill set for me to pay for that to close my overhead margin. See, restaurants or factories or whatever, they have an overhead margin. They got to pay taxes. They have to pay other corporations for advertisement. They have to do a whole bunch of things. They may have to pay for zoning.
And
They
this
may
is
have to pay for. You think, oh, I own a factory or I own an enterprise. I'm a multi-billionaire. That takes time. That
That's why
takes
there's so
time.
much different. There's many facets to this argument. Why? Because look what happens. You raise the minimum wage, all right?
Mhm.
And then when you raise the minimum wage, a lot of these people who support these laws, you know what they also support? Raising taxes on businesses. So
Exactly.
not only do you raise the minimum wage to pay them what they call now a living wage, quote unquote, what you're also doing is raising the taxes on businesses. So it's like
It's a
the
double-edged sword.
equality.
It's a double-edged sword. You're
Yeah,
still penalizing. You're saying, "Oh, this creates more jobs," when in fact, higher taxes, higher wages creates less jobs.
yeah.
It's just what it is. And the real issue is just there are other factors that we need to discuss that they don't want to. But here's a response, not a direct response to that video, but here's what
The other side of the
actually
coin.
happens, the other side of the coin when you raise minimum wage.
Yeah.
Here's what's going on in this argument here. Check this out.
Oh, it's a nice picture.
3 years ago, the city of Seattle voted to gradually raise its minimum wage to $15 an hour in the name of human decency and basic fairness. Cities including New York and Los Angeles have done the same thing. Critics argue that boosting wages by bureaucratic diktat leads to fewer hours and jobs for low-income and low-skilled workers. Now what the Washington Post calls a very credible study from researchers at the University of Washington finds that the critics are right. The Post calls this bad news for liberals, but the real victims are low-skilled workers.
You see that? So it didn't work in your ideology, but who loses? Who loses is the low skilled worker.
Mhm.
It's better to have thousands of minimum wage people, like if you had them at $10 an hour, than to now have them to 300 at $15 an hour. You have a higher unemployment rate. You have more kids now on welfare. If you just let them work, and then they figure out the next steps. If you got a job, at least to make some form of income, yeah, $10, what is that? That's not going to get me anything. Look, there are many ways we can grow from that, folks. I made $10 an hour and I figured out a way to live with other people.
Mhm.
Now, that may not be ideal for everyone, but hey, you have to figure out how to live, how to survive.
Yeah.
But don't say raising up my minimum wage will answer that question. More
Yeah.
money, more problems.
And let
Period.
me say this on this too. You know what this reminds me of? What these politicians do, right? Let this serve as an example, right? For those of y'all who just tuned in, we just gave the opposite perspective and coin to the minimum wage, the one supporting it, and now the reality check of what could happen when you raise it, right? This reminds
Mhm.
me of politicians um, from their ivory towers passing these laws that seem so well without asking the people on the ground. It's like the army and the lieutenant at war telling you, yo, we've been here, this is not the way it operates, but the person sitting in their office insists that they do what they have to do, right? Whatever their orders are. So
Yeah.
right now, what's the reality here? The reality is they raised the minimum wage and it affected businesses, it affected families, and it just really changed so many economic things in that place that politicians never mentioned to you. See how you see? It's omission. They lie by omission because they that's why politics or politicians in general, their biggest manipulation is avoiding certain things.
And
That's what
mind
makes
you,
it hard.
CEOs will never talk to you like this. It's the politicians that talk to you like this. But
Facts.
CEOs say 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Mhm.
Politicians say 1 plus 1 equals 10,000. They sell you such a dream because they want to relate to the poor voter. They say, "Oh, we're on the side of the heavens. We're on the side of angels. We can solve your problems. We'll raise your minimum wage." Whereas CEO says, "Why don't you create an idea, start your own business and grow from there? I'll work with you."
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder whoever's watching before you play this again, like, what's your view on minimum wage? Like, I wonder if anything in your mind, because my view slowly shifted as I learned more about the effects of minimum wage, and for a lot of
I
people,
got
they
it.
don't know of it, but yeah,
Have you ever made minimum wage before?
yeah, my first job.
I may have made minimum wage on 1 or 2 jobs. After that, I never worked minimum wage a day in my life again.
Yeah, my first 2 jobs were minimum wage. I worked at a
I
supermarket.
went when I was in high school, yeah, supermarket.
Yeah,
I did a summer job. It was all minimum wage. And then after I got my first real job at 19, it was $3 above the minimum wage line.
yeah,
The real statistics show that primarily jobs outside of like service, like restaurants and stuff like that, pay way above minimum wage in the first place to
yeah.
avoid this issue. Here we
Alright,
go.
let's go.
The study finds that when wages were increased to $13, employers cut hours by 9%.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
means that low-skilled workers saw their monthly compensation decrease by an average of $125. Studies that downplay the effect of minimum wage hikes have mostly focused on teenagers and fast food workers. But the University of Washington paper looks at the impact on workers spanning all industries and worker demographics. The findings may surprise progressives who think that the only limit to higher pay for workers is the greed and selfishness of business owners.
Living wage. We need to
And
pay
this, and check,
living
you
wage.
got people like this guy right here, who is a billionaire trying to connect with the poor voter.
He's
This
a
is what
millionaire.
this is all. This is
He's a millionaire.
He's a
Chill,
bi-
chill.
he's a billionaire, dude.
Nah, not billion. I don't think that's
He's.
wild.
I promise you. I
Nah,
promise you.
he's a
Look,
millionaire. Chill out, bro.
he is. His wife created a fake college to funnel money. She was under investigation. They are billionaires. The Sanders. It is well documented. These people will sit on, like you said, I think you couldn't say it any better. They sit from their ivory towers like they're gods, like they're kings, and say, I can feed you, I can make you, I can solve all your problems. Just worship me. Just worship me. No, you ain't gonna solve my damn problems. I can fix my own damn problems. Thank you very much. If I wanted to live under a king, under a god like you, then I'll go to a country where they have that. You understand what I'm saying? Like this doesn't make any damn sense. Why do people fall victim to these ideologies? Whereas, for example,
It sounds
immigrants,
good. It feels good.
immigrants don't buy this. They don't buy this. This is bullshit to them. You know what they do? They go, I start my own restaurant. I make my own money. I don't need to hear any of this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You have immigrants in this country come here, make 10 times the money of people who are crying for it,
hmm
who were born here.
They took the risk. They believe in the values. They believe in what America stands for. That's what it comes down to. You won't take the risk if you don't believe in the country and what it stands for. So yeah.
I'm just curious what Bernie has to say here.
The Walton family refuses to provide the wages and benefits their workers deserve.
I feel like anybody he calls out, like the Walton family, or if he calls out Buffett, he's just saying, "Look, I'm gonna call you out, so they look like I'm, not on your side. I want to be that guy, just so you know. But you know what? I'll see you at the fundraiser. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
an elite. Yeah, he's a prime example.
Freaking liar,
Yo,
freaking
my man's
liar.
a prime example of an elite for sure. It's like, but this is the war of political and culture ideas. You know what? And let me tell you another reason why I like that. Because right now we're showing people, right? And along the way, learning more about how this all works. Look, these politicians will say whatever it takes to get elected. These politicians
Yes,
would say whatever it takes to get. Why? Because it needs to sound good. And again, they need to tug at your emotions, right? So at the end,
they have a whiteboard. They have marketing people that work. They have a advertising people that work. They give them statistics. Hey, just so you know, there are a lot of poor people. We need to communicate to the poor people. We need to communicate to the black people because that is what will get us elected. That's what we need to do. We need to associate or assimilate ourselves with them. Hey, you know what? Don't wear that tie. Don't wear that
yeah,
blazer. I want you to roll up your sleeves, Obama. What did he do? He rolled up his
politics is
sleeves.
a game.
He wanted to look like a
Like
yeah.
what you're saying, politics is a game. We showed, yo, what up, Leo? My man Leo in the building.
What's
So,
going on?
like what we played last week, we played the clip of Trump and
Mhm.
we played the clip of Kamala going to churches And what were they doing? Did they really care? Probably not. I don't think they did. They just went there to appeal to voters. And again, this is how I look at it. Accept that in politics, but open your eyes to the issues you care about. Accept that they might be lying to you, but the issues you care about, dig a little deeper. Don't try to decipher the whole candidate, but we all have issues we care about. And I encourage people, the issues you care about, just dig a little deeper in that. Don't overwhelm yourself. Right? You're not a political commentator. You're not trying to save America, but you care about a certain issue. Dig a little deeper than what they tell you. Don't believe the.
I would say you don't need to overwhelm yourself. You got us.
Facts.
We'll give you some key pointers.
Yeah, every day 6 p.m. So
that's right.
I want to take a turn.
We'll read the news. Watch the news so you don't have to. We'll do it.
I want to take a turn right here. All right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of the story that came out, right? So is the NBA player from the Boston Celtics, Cantor?
Which one?
Cantor?
Oh, Enes Kanter. Yeah, Enes Kanter.
Have you heard what happened?
In particular to what? To the Turkish government or to the Chinese government?
Like Trump says. China. You know what happened with China?
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
China. This man, this is what you call, like, now you're really stepping out of the comfort zone because you're not gaining fans, you're not doing it. But right now, he called China out, right? So we have, let me give a quick picture of this right here. We have China and we have Tibet. China has been oppressing Tibet for a while, and their whole country, right? They're just a communist run efficient organization. They've probably succeeded in no way any communist country has in many decades. But what they're doing now is they're oppressing the people there. They've been doing it again, but they're oppressing their religious rights, their freedoms, and people are under the hammer there. Why? Because they're trying to gain more control there, right? Tibet is fighting for their freedom a bit more there. And what is he doing now? He's speaking up. Why doesn't the NBA speak up? Why doesn't LeBron speak up? Why doesn't Kyrie speak up? Why don't all these GMs speak up? Because at the end of the day, the market in China for the NBA is bigger than America. So they do what China tells them. That's what I always tell people. They're going to do what China tells them.
Shout out to Enes Kanter. He's always on the right side of politics.
So I'm going to do this really quick. Yeah. Bam. I'm going to just read this. All right. CCP therefore seeks to remove religion from areas under its control while paying lip service to religious freedom, support for ethnic diversity. Don't be fooled. The CCP's policies against religion fit the UN and US definitions of genocide.
Yes, right?
I would read it, but I wanted to show people. And what is that? That is the reality of what's happening in China that gets swept under the rug. It's genocide happening right now in China. Just people don't talk about it. You can't.
Millions and millions of what is it? The Uyghur Muslims?
Oh yeah, in concentration camps
in China.
Crazy.
Yeah, concentration camps. They're trying to indoctrinate them. They're doing everything that Adolf Hitler did to the Jews. So
check this out. The NBA has increasingly found itself in political controversy with China as Beijing demands, look how much power they have, that foreign enterprises hew to China political positions to retain access to their vast market. They control the world through the vast market, through the production, through the sea, and all that they have. And they continue to do that, which is why no country challenges them. The NBA and the Celtics did not immediately respond to the request commitment. Anyways, this is what I want to play really quick. This is the video right here.
And just before you play this, the reason why this is a big story for Enes and probably some players who don't want to be courageous and say anything about it is because the NBA is in bed with China.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Period.
They're
in bed with China.
Yeah, period. Which is why you remember the video of John Cena apologizing in Chinese? Like, bro. That is insane, bro.
That's disrespectful.
Probably is. I know. I'm wild.
Well, our YouTube channel is going to get flagged now. It's over. China's got us now. The China's like, yo, hand me your balls. Give me your balls now.
I'm here to add my voice and speak out about what is happening in Tibet. Under the Chinese government's brutal rule, Tibetan people's basic rights and freedoms are non-existent. They are not allowed to study and learn their language and culture freely. They are not allowed to travel freely. They are not allowed to access information freely. The Tibetan people are not even allowed to worship freely. For more than 70 years, Tibetan monks, nuns, intellectuals, writers, poets, community leaders, activists, and many more have been detained, sent to political re-education class.
We talk about the oppression in America. But when something like this, let's say you didn't know, now you know. Is anybody else going to speak up about this? No, because they're scared. They're controlled by what they need to speak. They could speak about Black Lives Matter. They could speak about inequality. They could speak about the wage gap, but you won't dare touch an issue that's serious as this going around the world. The same people who produce the jerseys. Labor in China is crazy. You talk about labor here, but you don't challenge labor in China. You talk, it's the hypocrisy is crazy, and this is what you call boldness.
And then you have members of Congress speaking in our chambers. I'm never going to let this go, Savory. You have members of Congress speaking in our chambers saying, end the apartheid of Israel. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What is going on in the Middle East? Do you want the ideology of Sharia law to take over the Middle East? Do you really want that?
Probably do. They wanted these people, I don't know.
How are you talking in a free society? You are talking in our American chambers wearing a hijab. You're free to wear a hijab here in America. You are free to be, if you don't want to wear a hijab and be a practicing
one
Muslim.
with the controversy and got millions of dollars in profit with the controversy. Anyway, let me finish this.
It's just unreal.
Subject to torture, lengthy interrogations, and even been executed.
By the way, no Boston games can be aired in China now. 1 hour after this video was released.
What?
No Boston game Celtic can be aired in China after he released. You heard what I said, right?
This is about to get released.
Take action.
He's about to
They're
get
swift and they don't play, which is why we need strong leadership who does the same thing. These people
for exercising the freedom that you and I take for granted. There have been more than 5,000 political prisoners in Tibet the last 25 years. 5,000. Did you know that simply owning a photo of the Dalai Lama in Tibet is grounds for arrest? Even flying the Tibetan national flag could get you arrested. I say, shame on the Chinese government. The Chinese dictatorship is erasing Tibetan identity and culture. The cultural genocide in Tibet is so stifling that more than 150 Tibetan people have burned themselves alive, hoping that such a
come on, man. You don't care about justice. If they bring this to light and you don't talk about it, these people are pawns. I don't care about this.
Of sacrifice will raise awareness and attention towards the ongoing abuses.
Nah, but what I'm worried about is somebody calling me big lip nigger over here. That's what I'm worried about. Mind you, you got people being burned alive over there, people being assassinated, killed. We're literally in concentration camps.
No, literally. This is not hypothetical.
Literally.
Let me finish the video. It's 30 seconds only, and then we'll wrap it up. But yo, that's crazy.
Brothers and sisters, and I support their calls for freedom. The communist ideology of China has been around for only about 100 years. But Buddhist civilization, ideology, and philosophy has been around for thousands of years. Only the Tibetan people should decide the future of Tibet. 100%. Tibet belongs to the Tibetan people. And I hope and believe Tibet will achieve independence. Brutal dictator of China, Xi Jinping.
Called him out.
A message for you and your henchmen. I will say it again, and again, loud and clear. I hope you hear me. Free Tibet, free Tibet, free Tibet.
And in case y'all want to test Enes Kanter's gangster, he has been very critical of the Turkish dictator, that he spoke out freely, and he is not allowed to return back to his country because of it.
He's about
this man stands. This man stands on the side of justice, man.
He's got to apologize. Boston organization is suffering now because they're not airing the games there. The market is shutting. They're putting pressure on Boston. They're going to put it back on him, and he's going to
Oh, Cantor, he's about to get released. They're going to
Bro,
release him because of this.
so let me ask you this. In light of this, look what he's doing. All right. You got to judge it by the risk you're taking, right? You have my favorite theologian, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, for example. All right. What did he do? He risked his entire life. So you know there was something on the line. These basketball players stand up for social justice causes, and then they sign a $10 million contract the next week. That's not, come on, man. You telling me you standing for something? No, you're just talking about what you are paid to talk about. This is courage.
Bring that heat.
That's what I want.
Bring that heat.
This is courage, because you're not talking about what people want to hear. You're talking about the injustice that you really feel in your heart. The news ain't tell you.
Yeah.
Your brother ain't tell you. The social media ain't tell you. This is something you know. You talk about it because you have cojones.
That's right. And we want to encourage y'all to have that. And to kind of leave you guys with this, I have a video here to kind of help maybe the whole the wage shortage or the minimum wage idea.
Cool.
Shout out to Ennis Cancer on that. Thanks for standing on the side of courage. Thank you, Savory, for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, because I was ignorant of that. And that right there is the atrocities that are happening around this world is nothing compared to what the black man who was just called a nigger in the South has to deal with. I just got to say it like that. We're not living in the Jim Crow days, guys. We're not. We have such freedom. We're in case you haven't realized, Savory and I are Hispanics, and we have the freedom to speak our voices right here, right now. Am I ignorant to racism in this country? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's not holding me back, and I have tougher skin than that. I have a lot tougher skin than that. And for those who are looking either for a career or looking for something to get them generate some kind of money, I want to leave you guys with this. Check this out. Mike Rowe has something to say about the minimum wage debate, and this hopefully sums it up, and this hopefully helps some of you guys to acquire some things. Check this out.
The only thing I can add to it is that with my foundation, we try and remind people that learning a skill that's actually in demand negates the whole conversation. If you can weld, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you're willing to learn a skill that has a pre-existing demand, then you don't have to constantly negotiate and talk about a few extra dollars in order to stay in a position that, frankly, I don't know how you advance in that kind of thinking.
So for everyone out there, acquire a skill. It doesn't have to be what he mentioned, but get some form of a skill. I took over the summer IT courses to learn how to not only work on softwares or work on platforms, but also learning how to deal with hardware. I build my own PC. I took a course, and I want to maybe go into IT career, because when you start acquiring a skill, people need you.
Yeah.
People need you. Companies need you. Enterprises need you. Your neighbors need you. Hey, can you fix my computer? Hey, can you do this? And then you get to charge them. You get to wage and negotiate your own wage instead of looking to the government and saying, "Oh, can I get the $15 an hour?" No, I get to negotiate my own wage based on demand. $25 an hour, $30 an hour. You need me to fix you a computer? You need me to build you something? Guess what? This is what's going to cost. You know what I'm saying? So acquire a skill. If you learned anything about this episode, it is to have courage. Men, be masculine. Women, let men be masculine. Let men be fearless. Our country will be better for it. Let men be who they are and step up and be courageous. Be smart in your courage. And as Kenter was smart there, he doesn't really care about the money. The man's rich. He's probably, he knows the outcome of what may happen in the coming weeks. I don't think he cares about that. He is on the right side of justice. And don't sit there and beg for $15 an hour. Acquire a skill, negotiate your own wage.
Ooh,
that's what we're about
I like
here.
that. Hold up. Let me rephrase that right there for you. Not rephrase it. reintroduce what you said. You ready? You said, I'm just putting the words you said right here. This is great. Be masculine, be courageous, and learn a skill. Yo, if there's anything,
Learn a damn
those are the
skill.
top three.
Learn a damn skill.
Yo, this was great. We got into
Yeah.
a whole lot of different topics, but again, appreciate everybody joining. We are here Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. And at the end of the day, we do this for one reason. We actually truly care about the issues and enjoy doing this and talking about it. So we're in this, for the long haul. So we hope to, acquire people who really believe in what we're doing. So let me give you a rundown where you can find us. Follow us on Twitch, Macho Fix, Savory Edition. Follow us on Twitter, same handles. And last but definitely not least, we have our YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, because our YouTube channel is literally going to be the central point of where we focus our content. We bring value and we continue to get creative in how we bring this information. So it's one thing you can bet on in what we're doing. We're just going to get creative. We're going to take risks, and we're going to try to involve everybody who's joining us week by week, day by day, man. So again, thank you for joining us. Drinks with a nobody.
And remember, this show may be ending tonight. We may be leaving now, but we believe at Drinks with a Nobody, there are no last calls. So keep the conversation going. Until tomorrow, we'll see you guys then.
Cheers.